This week's reflection is based on a story that's at the beginning of Matthew 25. And it's another story where Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is like. And this time he likes it again to a wedding feast, something that is very familiar to people at that time. Now, in those days, the wedding time wouldn't be absolutely set, but when the wedding was ready, you'd be invited, but when the wedding was ready, they said, okay, we're all ready, we can go now. This particular case, we've got 10 girls, and they are there not as bridesmaids, they're there to accompany the groom, and so they're waiting for the groom to come from his house, and they will accompany him in procession to the bride's house where the feasting will begin. Now, this wedding's obviously taking place at night because the girls have lamps. They don't know what time the bridegroom is actually going to be ready to come, and so some of the girls think ahead and think, well, we better take extra oil just in case. And so that's what they do. Now, in the story, the groom does take a long time to come, so much so that the girls doze off. And it's midnight when they suddenly hear the cry, the groom is coming. And so they awaken and they quickly trim their lamps. But suddenly the girls who hadn't taken any extra oil realise that their lamps are just going to burn out. And so they say to the other girls, can we have some of your oil? But they say, no, look, that's not possible, because if we give you some of ours, then we won't have enough either, and all the lamps will go out. So you better go and see if you can buy some more oil. So those 5 girls trotted off to buy more oil. Unfortunately for them, when they did, that's when the bridegroom arrived, and the 5 girls who were ready went with him to the house, to the procession of the house, and then the doors were closed and the feasting began. The 5 girls who'd gone to buy oil come running back with their oil, only to find they'd missed out. But they do find their way to the house, and they knock on the door and they say, let us in. But the answer is no, we don't know you. So what's it saying about God's kingdom? Firstly, the bridegroom's Jesus. He's coming back to gather up his people, but the time of his coming is not known to anyone. The point is that we need to be ready to meet him. Now, our lives might end suddenly and unexpectedly. We've got no guarantee about that. Or Jesus could come back at any unexpected time. Either way, would we be ready to meet him? The picture in this story uses oil for what is needed. The oil keeps the lamps burning. The oil is symbolic of our relationship with Jesus. That's something that we develop over time. It's a spiritual thing. It's something we work on. We can't get our spiritual lives in order at the last minute. It just doesn't work, especially if we don't know when our last minute's going to be. Our relationship with Jesus is like any other relationship. It has to be worked on, and as it does, it deepens and grows. Isaiah 55:6 gives us sound advice. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call on him while he is near. In other words, take the opportunity now, we have it right now, to come to know God. The story in Matthew ends with the words, therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day or the hour. So it's advising us to be diligent about spiritual lives. The 10 girls in the story would have all looked the same. They all had lamps, but only 5 of them had what they needed. The ones who didn't have it wanted to borrow, but that wasn't possible. We can't borrow relationship with God. We may have the most godly grandparents, parents, but we ourselves have to come to find our own relationship with Jesus. We can't just presume on our heritage. And this is the mistake that many of the Jews made, and it came out in John 8, where Jesus is confronting the Jewish people. And they're getting quite offended and saying, yes, but we have Abraham as our father. We've never been slaves to anyone. And he said to them, look, if Abraham really were your father, you would know who I am, but instead you're trying to kill me. And then he goes on, and it's quite brutal. He says, actually, your father is the devil, because he has been a murderer from the beginning. They didn't really know God, and so they didn't recognise Jesus. Perhaps the most difficult thing in this story is the ending. Those who are not prepared didn't join the bridegroom's procession. However, they did manage to get to the house only to find themselves shut out. They were denied entry. They pleaded, let us in, let us in. And the answer is no, I don't know you. There does come a time when it's too late. Once we've passed from this life, or if Jesus returns while we're still in this life, it's too late to realise that we've been wrong and to start pleading for another chance. We tend to watch the border security shows quite a lot, and very often a person will declare no, they haven't got any food, but when their bags are examined, they're just packed with food items. And so the officer will show them the card and say, look, why didn't you, say that you had this food? And their answer will be, oh, sorry, as if that's enough to let them off the fine or whatever's coming. But it's not. Once the declaration's been made, it simply can't be changed. Now, it's not a popular concept in people's mind. So many believe that they'll get to live with God after this life, even if they had nothing to do with Him in this life. We think maybe at the last minute we might be able to put things right with God. It just doesn't work that way. Every day we have on earth is a chance for us to prepare for the time to come. And Jesus gives us many warnings about this. If we're not prepared, we will miss out. Chapter 7 of Matthew, Jesus is saying, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only those who do the will of my Father. Seek the Lord while he may be found. Call on him while he is near.
When it's all been said